I've got here the new eyeshadow palette from Makeup by Mario. This is called the Ethereal's Eyes Nature, and I personally am a huge fan of the original one. This one right here. It is probably my most used bigger palette, and by bigger I mean one that has more than 4 or 6 shadows. This is a love for me. I also have the Moonlight palette, which was released last year. It's more cool tone. I will be 100% honest, I did not get a lot of use out of this one. I liked it, but the cool tones, they just don't look great on me. So this is one that I didn't reach for much. I reached for it, you know, when I first bought it, reviewed it, reached for it that first month, and then just haven't picked it up. So this wasn't, you know, a top palette in my collection. But when I saw the release of this one, I love the colors. I love the green in it. But then I saw a couple reviews or swatches, and now I'm concerned. I don't know if I'm gonna like it. The outside packaging is the same as the other one. This one's just dirty. But I do wish it was a little different, just so I can tell which one it is in my collection. But let's open this one up. Okay. This is the palette, and in my opinion, this looks beautiful. It looks stunning. So I'm really hoping that this works. I've heard mixed reviews. Some people love it, some people don't. That's what we're doing today. We're testing this out, doing a couple eye looks, and I'll give you my honest thoughts. So grab something to drink, hang out with me, and let's get started. Last night, I whitened my teeth for the first time in like 4 to 6 months. I just used the regular whitening strip, and I used to do that pretty often. But look, my teeth look so white. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but in person, they look pretty white, and I only did it once, so I'm gonna keep up with that. Okay, let's get into the details of this palette. Let me see how much this one was. These are not cheap. I want to say $68. I was so close. It is $69. And these are limited edition. And let's just compare this one to the original, because I feel like these two are more similar than his old formula. I will say that the packaging, I thought it was the same, but the original, the Ethereal, which was their first release, I don't know when this came out, it's thicker and it feels a little sturdier than the new one. That's just something to mention. But you guys can see here the difference between these palettes. Obviously, the new one gets you those greens and more of that burgundy color down there. The original one is just more of a neutral, everyday palette. I do think the browns in the new one look absolutely stunning, more of a good neutral undertone here and maybe a tiny bit of warmth here. I'm excited. This looks beautiful, guys. In person, I feel like it looks prettier than online. But let's start the swatching. Okay, so that's the first row. I really don't like watching any reviews on anything before I get to the chance to swatch it and review it and play with it, just because I don't like somebody else's opinion, because it's very easy to get influenced and look for mistakes or things that they found wrong that maybe you wouldn't see. Okay, that's the second row. I like that green. That looks really beautiful. And then the third row, may have to take this swatch off because I did not give myself enough space. Here we have the first row, second row, and then last row. The one big difference that I see in these swatches compared to the original is the Ethereal palette had a little bit more sparkly toppers. Let me swatch just a couple from in the center here, just so I can give you an idea. They were just a little bit more sparkly. I don't know if you can tell. There you go. Those are the sparkly shades, and I don't see that many in the new one. Maybe these two are a little bit more unique and sparkly, but that's the one difference that I can tell. Let's swatch the greenish grayish one here from the original. Yeah, I think the shimmers are a little bit more intense in the Ethereal palette versus the new one. And you know what? Not everybody wants a super sparkly lid, so I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing, but I can see why people are like, oh, it's just not the same. Let's put it on our eyes and then I'll let you know my thoughts. Let's start off with this side right here. I'm gonna go on with this brown and put it in my crease. Oh, I like that color a lot. The matte formula doesn't seem any different to me. I think that looks really beautiful. It blended out really nicely. No issues so far. I'm going with this brown with just a smaller brush and build up the corner. Ooh, very, very pretty. I like that a lot. Very soft, pretty, blendable. There's pigment there. I like that. I'm just gonna build up just a little bit more and flick it out right there. I'm gonna take the same color and go right under here. I'm probably gonna do 3 looks with this palette. One, and then finish up with the last color story. Okay, I think that looks beautiful. Super simple, super easy. These are some good mattes, good undertone. I like it. I'm gonna take a flat brush and go into the lighter shade right here. And I'm gonna brighten up the inner corner. Okay, this is definitely a little softer. Not necessarily the pigment, but the sparkle. Let me swatch this one more time. This is actually not necessarily a sparkly shade. This is a matte with a little bit of a sparkle on it. So I personally am not a huge fan of this formula, but in this one, it works. I like it. Yeah. Okay, let's put some sparkle on top. I want to go with this one. We're going to do a simple eye look right here. This one feels exactly the same as the original, kind of that soft, creamy shadow. And I'm gonna just put it right on top here. That's beautiful. Yeah, I like the undertone. I think it's sparkly. Yeah, I think that's beautiful. I do want to take a little bit of the lighter shade, again, with my finger, and I'm gonna brighten up right here in the center just a little bit more. Okay, I do think that this one may be a little softer. Let me put a little bit more. Last thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to take the darker shade and just tight line a little bit. Then we're going to put mascara on and I'll show you the first look. That's all I'm going to do for the first look. Let me put mascara on and I'll show you how it looks like. Here we have the first eye look finished, and I kept it a little bit simpler. I played more with the browns, with the kind of just more natural tones. We definitely have that sparkly shade in the center that I think is absolutely beautiful. And yeah, to be truthfully, completely honest, I think this is beautiful. It was so easy to work with, and the amount of sparkle is perfect for me. Yeah, I'm really liking it. I also really liked the undertones of the browns, the way they blended out. So far, no complaints. Let's move on to the next look. And should we play a little bit with the burgundy colors? Why not? I'm gonna actually go back into the first brown that we used. I think this is a great color, mostly for my skin tone. And I like to put that in the crease. And that was it. It's very easy to work with these browns. Next, I'm gonna take the darker brown and a smaller brush, and I'm gonna smoke this out a little bit, mainly on the lash line, and pulling this up. I'm gonna put the more burgundy shade all over. It's like a mauve-y, deeper shade. Put this first, and then we're gonna layer the other shade and then blend this out. Going back and building it up some more till you get the depth that you want. And I'm blending it out and up. And then going back to the original brush just to make sure it's blended and there's no harsh lines. And I think I'm gonna leave it here and then go in with this shade right here. And I'm gonna start in the center and slowly build it up. I need my other hand. I do want the main color to be in the center and then blending this out with the leftover. Okay, so this color, it is a little softer. It's not super sparkly. It does have a tiny bit of a shift in it, but it is light. It's not necessarily a bad shade, but I can kind of see what the people were talking about with the pigment being just a little less intense or less sparkly. I still think it's a really pretty shade. Just gonna go back into the darker shade just to blend this in. Okay, so this is the shade applied just with my finger, but I'm gonna go in with a brush and wet it. And let's see if we can get a little bit more impact like that. Slowly building this up. Maybe just a little bit more intense, but this is more of a smooth shade rather than textury, so it's not like it has all this sparkle in them. It's almost satin finish. Then I'm gonna go in with the lighter shade and I'm gonna put this in the inner corner right here and cleaning up this area. Then I'm going back to the original shade, which is this one right here. And the same thing, cleaning up, blending, making sure that everything is smooth. I'm also gonna take the darker shade and go on the lower lash line right here. And I will put a little bit of that mauve-y kind of burgundy shade on the lower lash line. I'm actually gonna put it with a brush. Just a smaller brush, and I'm gonna try to pack it in there to smoke out the look a little bit more. Could even use your finger for this. Back with the darkest shade, I just want to intensify that line a little bit more. And then I'm trying to debate if I want to add some sparkle on top of this or just leave it like this. Let's take the middle shade right here, which is more of that toppery color, and I'm gonna go in the center because that shade is just a little softer than what I envisioned. So putting that brings just a little bit more texture to the eye. I think that looks a little bit better. One thing that I want to do is kind of connect this to the corner here up. It seemed a little harsh. And then going back and blending. Okay, I think that's better. Let me put mascara on and show you the finished look. Put a little bit of the mascara on, and I actually ended up loving this eye look, but there's one thing I want to do, and I thought I would do it on camera. I want to put a little bit of this liner from Victoria Beckham. It is in the color Fig, and it is this kind of purpley shade. And I want to put this on the waterline right here. I really think it'll make the eye pop a little bit more. Okay, what do you guys think? Did it make it pop? I feel like it made it a little bit more interesting. But I actually ended up loving this look. I know it's not as intense as we thought that color would be, but with the sparkle on top, I really feel like it created a really cool smoky look that's not too intense. Here is the second eye look finished. And like I mentioned, I really like this look. I like the smokiness that it has. I like that sparkle on top. I really think that that brought the look together. And I think it's a smoky look without it being too intense. If you want to intensify that shade right here, does it have a name? EEN 11. So the shade 11, you could put the darker all over and on top of it put the shade 11. And I think that will really intensify the look. But I could see how people could be just a little bit disappointed in this color because it's not super intense. It's not super sparkly, let's just say that. It's a little bit smoother. So if you like more of a softer, more satiny finish rather than sparkly, you would enjoy this one quite a bit. But yeah, I actually really like this look. I probably like it better than the first one. I think it's just a little different. These two eye looks are not similar at all. So that's kind of good because we can create multiple very different eye looks with one palette. So you're kind of getting your money's worth rather than when the colors are so similar that you're getting one or two looks. I think we're going to be able to create a good 4 or 5 looks with this that are unique. And we're about to get into the greens. But yeah, these are the first 2 eye looks that we created with this palette. I left the mascara on, so we're gonna work around the mascara. It's not my favorite thing to do, but it's just such a pain to take everything off, and I kind of have to leave soon. So let's move on to this area right here. Also, there's this beautiful brownie, bronzy shade right here that could be such a beautiful look with just this all over, a little bit of those browns. That is a really, really pretty soft color. Again, it's not going to be super sparkly and intense. It definitely has shimmer in it, but it's not very intense. Anyway, let's go in with this brown right here. This looks more of a neutral brown, which we love. Oh, it's quite pigmented. Okay. Shaping the eye really nicely. I really like the mattes in here. It seems pretty much the same as the old formula or the old palettes. Gonna do it on this side as well. I love that brown so much. I'm actually gonna take it on the lower lash line as well. That's so pretty. I like the undertone of that. Okay, the one thing I actually really want to show you is this shade. So let me put this all over the lid. Maybe we'll wipe that off after. And I'll just show you. I kind of want to see this color to see what it's got. Okay, so this is again quite soft, not super sparkly. It's satin finish, not metallic. Very, very smooth. I personally love it, okay, because I like a natural soft eye look. But if you are expecting this to be sparkly, you're going to be very disappointed because, yes, it has that satin slight sparkliness in it, but it's so soft. This is a very natural color. So, yeah, you're not going to get super sparkly effect with this. But I love it. I would leave it here, a little bit of the dark brown, and that's my eye look. I actually really like that color. Oh my goodness, that's actually such a pretty color. Okay, I will wipe that off. I just wanted to show you, just so you have an idea of all the shades, because I think these are the shades that kind of people expect to be super intense. And I don't want you to be disappointed if you purchase this and you were expecting this shade to be very sparkly and intense, yeah, you would be disappointed. Let's just take this shade. This shade I usually don't like because it's a cream color that has yellow undertones in it. For my skin tone, is not my favorite. It makes me look a little bit dirty. But if you have deeper skin tone, this is a good shade for you. Look, I'll just show you real quick. Put it all over. Yeah, I don't love that undertone on me. It's almost kind of, yeah, it looks dirty in my opinion. Now let's move on to these shades right here. You know, you don't have to use them together. You could just use one and then the other, but I do want to take first this shade and I want to see what it does, you know? How intense is it? Is it soft? That's very soft. I'm going to put it all over. I just want to see what the shade does. So this one has more sparkle in it, which I do like, but it is soft. Like the pigment is not very intense. It's more of a topper shade rather than, you know, I think when you look at it, you think, wow, it's going to be so intense. But once you put it on the eye, it's more of a kind of sparkly topper. The base of it is not very intense. I am layering it and I can definitely get more pigment. I'm actually going to take the darker shade here and build out that corner. As somebody who loves a softer look, this is good for me. But if you are expecting a lot of pigment, I do think you're going to be disappointed in that shade and a couple other ones as well. For me, I'm fine with it because I don't love a ton on my eyes. Many times I don't even wear eyeshadow. I just added a little bit of this shade. Let me go in with the green. Let's go in the center. Okay, yeah, this one has more pigment and more sparkle. I hope you guys can see it on camera. See right there. I actually like that a lot. It does have some sparkles through it, a little bit of yellow, and I find that really beautiful. I'm gonna go back into the darkest shade and build up that corner. And then with a fluffy brush, we're gonna clean this up. I'm actually gonna go in my pinky and go back and intensify that color just because we blended it out quite a bit. I actually like that. This is a wearable green color. That's how I would describe it. You know, it's not the Pat McGrath super intense green. It's a little softer, a little bit more wearable. It still has some interest to it. You can see quite a lot of the yellow sparkles around, which I think it's beautiful. I'm gonna take, actually let's take the lightest one on a brush and I'm just gonna brighten this inner corner right here and bring it into the green. I want to take the sparkle shade in the center and I'm gonna go right on top of the green. This shade gives more texture to everything. Although it did take away the green a little bit. Not sure if I want that. I'll go back into the green and add more. Here is the third look finished. This one definitely has a little bit more green in it, but the green is softer. It's not super intense. So the base pigment of the green is not opaque. So the green that you see comes from the sparkles. The base layer is a little bit transparent, so you kind of have to build the color up if you want more intensity. Now, this could be a huge negative for some people and a huge positive for others. For me personally, it's a positive because I don't like a lot of color on my eyes. Even when I wear, let's say, a little bit more of a green, I like it to be a little transparent. I don't like a very opaque look unless, you know, I'm going for that look. I want a full-on blue, intense eyeshadow. To me, this is the opposite. This is giving you a little bit of a color with a softer look. And it's something that I would reach for much more than a very intense green. I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think it's preference. If you look at the original Makeup by Mario one, these don't have a ton of pigment either. The toppers, I'm talking only about the toppers, you know, they all have that transparency. The difference in the formula is that the original had more sparkles and it was just overall more intense, more of a top coat sparkliness. This one is, I would say, more of a satin soft finish. And I think some people are disappointed in that, and I can see why, you know. I think if you're used to this pigment and this sparkliness and intensity, I don't think you're going to be happy with this because it is softer. The only shade that I would say it's at the same level sparkliness, that's not even the word, but it's this one right here. I think that this one has that same effect, that top coat, super sparkly shade, but I think that's it. Yeah, this one doesn't have the same intensity. And this green one, I think that one also has it. You can kind of see the difference, how sparkly this is a little more satiny, and this one has that sparkly effect as well. I do think that the softness of the shimmers makes this palette a little bit more wearable, more day-to-day palette. I don't see a difference in the matte formula. I think they're very soft, blendable, very nice. I personally love that formula. And I think every eye look that I've created, I liked. Did I absolutely love everything about it? No, I find it a little bit challenging, this color. I felt like I had to build the color up, and I actually didn't love it until I added the sparkly shade on top. I did really like the greens by themselves. This one, I think it's really pretty. It's softer. It's definitely sparkly, but I like the softness that it gives. The mattes are incredible. I don't like this yellow cream shade, but it's not necessarily created for my skin tone, but that's just personal preference in the color. Everything else, the colors are really, really nice. Now, do I think this palette is exceptional? You have to have it? Not really. I think that you can do without. Do I regret purchasing? No, I actually really liked it. I loved the mattes. I did like this shimmer shade right here, but I do wish that there were more in this formula and this sparkliness almost. Maybe if this was a little bit more intense, I think it would make the palette just a little bit more special. But because this is more of that softness, it's very soft, more of that satin finish, you may be disappointed in that. But yeah, I personally don't regret purchasing. I don't think it's a must, like you have to go get it. Do I prefer the original? 100% yes. To me, this is like one of my most perfect eyeshadow palettes. So I would pick this one over the new one. But if you're looking for just a pop of color, like a little bit of a green, where it's not overwhelming, you still have that sparkliness, I do think this is beautiful. I am very curious to hear what you have to say about this palette. Are you disappointed? What do you think about it? Leave me all your thoughts down below, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.